the best, or worst food. What I ate. Check it out at the best or worst food, whatIate.blogspot.com.
Sort of break it down like this.
Oh, fantastic. He is one of the biggest meatballs on Twitter.
I'm an idiot.
No, that's okay.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mike.
Could you please take back Tim Tebow?
Oh, awesome.
Take college football in touch.
I don't understand where these questions are coming from, Tom. That's about it for Manager's Corner. Go yourself and with your show coming up next on the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
I made a note about college sports, and the note just says college sports in general.
Whammy!
Can't do it.
The changes that have happened in the Cub organization are multifold.
Boogie boogie. Great stuff. Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on Intrepid Audio Productions. Just to all the listeners, thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on IAP Podcast, and this is the last show for the year 2013. It's been a good year. I have to say it was a good year. I shouldn't say have to, but it really was a good year as far as some of the things here in Chicago and as far as sports were concerned. New coach for the Bears, Stanley Cup. How about that for the Blackhawks? We're very happy about that as they continue to defend their title. Well, baseball was disappointing, but it's a new era, it's a new leaf on both sides of towns, and we got to see how that is going to transition in the long run, with the White Sox starting really over fresh now and going forward. So that's going to be nice to see what they do. Bears, I guess that's the, there's no way around it. All I could say is for anyone that followed me on Twitter, I could not have been any more angry. And I'm the type of angry that when I'm quiet, you know that it's bothering me. And that's exactly what I was. I was very tense during the game before it even started, leading up to the 3 o'clock start. I was probably just as tense, if not more so, than when the start of the season happened. And I really wanted to see the Bears get off on the right start, getting a win, showing what the new offense can do. Got that in the first week of the season. Unfortunately, after that, we were only privy to 7 more wins. That's right. The Bears finished at 500, 8-8. And yesterday afternoon, however you really want to put it, was just frustrating. It was frustrating because of, I would say, the complete lack of defensive fundamentals that NFL players should know at this point in the game, at this stage in their career. They should know what it means to be a safety. They should be able to identify man coverage. They should be able to identify their assignment and what their job is. Not having to rely on somebody else when in a given play, if it's man-to-man, there is no backup. It's on you. And if you have one job to do and you can't do it, well, your value to the team as a whole plummets exponentially. And I guess that's the tale of the tape for this year. I don't know if anyone, I said it before last week, we didn't know if the defense was going to take a step back. We knew it certainly was going to, but we didn't know how far back that step would be. Well, it took a step back to the tune of the worst defense since the expansion era, since the expansion happened in the NFL. Who was the team that had the last defense that was just as bad? That would go back to, I think it was the 73 Vikings. I believe that's the correct team. If not, please feel free to correct me. I'm happy to take it. But it was that 70s expansion that really decimated, that had just such a galactically bad defense. Well, we got to see a repeat of that this year. Combinations of injuries, personnel, scheming, and I don't know if it was coaching. I mean, this was a complete loss in all fronts and from the defense. There was at no point could you be happy about it. There were times where seemingly the defense could make a stop. Unfortunately, they didn't win. They really absolutely needed to. They being the Bears, and just all out failing. I feel like a broken record, but you had the safety, Chris Conte, just completely blow coverage, and probably that's the highlight play that everyone's looking at right now. But dropping back, letting seemingly pass off Randall Cobb, thinking that he's playing zone coverage. No, it wasn't. It was a man-on-man coverage. It was seemingly, you rush 7, drop 4, and that just didn't happen. That didn't click, and that didn't register with Conti. So, seeing the complete lack of NFL knowledge on the defensive side and of basic NFL defensive scheming and situational defense and just being unaware of your surroundings and the game situation is something we're not used to seeing here in Chicago. We're not used to seeing stupid. We're used to seeing stupid on one side of the ball where it's perfectly capable and acceptable and probably will be for the next couple of years to look at that. But that's changed. Unfortunately, we're seeing stupid on the defensive side of the ball. And when you're talking to a town, a fan base, an organization that has considerable pride on the line when it comes to defense, just really play stupid and play with no ability, no wherewithal, no knowledge of the circumstances is what's completely frustrating the fan base right now, the team. And one of the plays that really sticks out in my mind was a seemingly incomplete pass that is actually a fumble, yet no Bear decides to touch it, go anywhere near it, and not only not down it, consider it, play to the whistle, which there was no whistle, let the opposing team pick it up and literally trot to the end zone. And no pursuit even given towards that. It's stupefying is a word that comes to mind. There's no other way around it. This was such a bad defense. And I don't know what to say. I'm getting over the loss slowly and surely. It's a very frustrating thing to have to deal with because of the ability that we know some of the players and veterans that have been around this team to just completely walk away from that, just to walk away from their skills, their experience, and do nothing. That's desertion as far as I'm concerned. That's quitting. And when you don't utilize the tools that are available to you, you are a tool yourself. And when I say that, that's not the insult. That is the compliment. That is, you are one of the cogs that helps make this defense move. And who am I specifically mentioning? I'm mentioning Lance Briggs, somebody who's now decided to shy away from the Chicago media and take a page away from the Brian Urlacher experience that we're used to. Really quite uncharacteristic of him as well. So a lot of disappointment there. Chris Conti, this is a guy that's been around and given plenty of chances to succeed. Not really coming up when the team, I shouldn't say the fan base, but the team needed him, just didn't do it. Just did not do it. Did not even consider his situation. All he had to do was look to his left and basically his right and count 10 people. 10 people were all to his left, probably one to his right. That's it. I think it was Zach Bowman that was towards the top of the screen to his right. That could not that are that are on the line. When you have, including yourself, 11 people up front, there's no one in back of you, and if there is, you're getting flagged for too many men on the field. So I'm just astounded by it. I'm probably more frustrated as it's gone on. I certainly was very frustrated the rest of the evening with the way that things had gone, the loss that they experienced, the fan base experienced, the sheer letdown of it, and I guess the wasted opportunities is the best way to sum it up, the best way to really kind of categorize this final quarter, as we're used to saying, or measuring the season, this final quarter of the season in such poor fashion. I'm not going to blame. I'd like to blame Dallas, and I think it's a good I think everyone can blame Dallas for not beating Green Bay and staying 30 MFing points up on Green Bay and losing. Seriously, consider that. Consider the complete lack of talent that requires, the supreme lack of talent that requires. So that's the story for another time, which I'll be happy to get into. As Tony Romo is, remember him, Tony Romo, just saying for that fact there. But overall, just the wasted opportunities. You had a team clowned last week against Philadelphia. I should say 2 weeks ago. A team that was handed their destiny on a silver platter. Not once, but twice. 2 weeks they were able to do that. They could not rise to the occasion one of those weeks. And honestly, you can look at it, go back, watch the game. There is not one thing Jay Cutler did wrong in that game. Jay Cutler did exactly what the McCown supporters asked him to do, or have held McCown to the same standard, or to that standard. And guess what? Jay Cutler rose to that, exceeded that, and did exactly what Jay Cutler can do. And that is show you and make the plays that can win you football games. 2 passes show you that right now. An Alshon Jeffrey 40-plus yard pass that gets him down to the 1 yard line. That's one. in coverage, mind you. 2, throwing a right shoulder fade to the far right side of the end zone for Brandon Marshall, who makes an incredible spin move nonetheless to come down for a touchdown. Jay Cutler made throws that Jay Cutler can make and not Josh McCown can make. But to top it off, Jay Cutler did everything he was supposed to do. Make good decisions, go through his progressions, check down, use the weapons he had available to him, like Matt Forte, Alshon Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett, of course, Brandon Marshall. It's funny that is going to be lost in this loss to the Packers. That is one thing that is never going to be remembered, never going to be cared or given a second thought about. I don't know why that's the case. I think the case is because you have a lazy media willing to peddle cheap, lazy, stupid, mind you, narratives about Jay Cutler, about his personality, about things that do not matter when he suits up, puts on his helmet, and goes under center on Sunday. It doesn't matter. Plenty of people were joking around saying that ones that understand what it means to be a responsible media individual, or one that understands the situation, saying Jay Cutler didn't celebrate enough for that touchdown. I had to watch some of it in delay, but he celebrated fine. He showed emotion. It was nice to see that Fox did him some favors by showing him smiling when he had to, being interested in his coaching when he was off the field, and being engaged with teammates, high-fiving, grab-assing, all that stupid stuff that fans gravitate to and unfortunately judge a player on. So, that being said, I don't know what the future holds for Jay Cutler. I do not know if they will extend him out to be a 45-year quarterback for the Bears. I just don't know. I don't know if they're going to franchise him. I don't know what the right move is. I certainly believe that the right move, certainly along the line at some point, involves drafting a quarterback and building a quarterback that can fit the system and can succeed in the system. I would not be saying that if the Bears didn't have to play the Eagles and specifically Nick Foles. I'm sorry. If anyone knew who Nick Foles was at the beginning of the season, I will certainly give you credit for that. You certainly know your football better than me, but I think also there was a quarterback controversy with Michael Vick early on, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, you're dealing with a fan base that has no love for their quarterback, and I don't understand that. In the NFL, your quarterback can own your city. Just smile for the camera, give some good answers, and if you gotta, jiggle some junk, I don't know what the glad hand, I guess, is the best way to put it. If you have to glad hand a meatball, otherwise stupid fan base that does not understand the sport and what it takes to win and being able to identify talent, that's on your fan base, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm willing to lay that there. I've certainly said that before. So, that being said, I don't know what's the future of Jay Cutler. I certainly think, and maybe it's stupid of me to do so, but ever since the signing of Venom done to the White Sox, I'm not going to discount the idea of off-the-field issues or level of competition or mentality. If Jay Cutler does not return to the Bears, you are going to have a lot of trouble with Brandon Marshall. I truly do believe that, and maybe I really shouldn't. But my knee-jerk reaction is that you are going to have trouble. So whether they keep Josh McCown, whether they draft somebody and decide to develop him initially, I certainly think you're wasting a lot of talent initially on your offensive line right now, and certainly your offensive weapons in Matt Forte and your wide receiving core as well as your tight end. Do they make a quarterback better? Yes, certainly. Could even Matt Stafford succeed in this system? I'd certainly like to think so. He certainly has proven to not be able to succeed with the best wide receiver in the game, in probably the history of the game, in Calvin Johnson. But then again, well, I don't really think Joe Montana was all that great either. So, that being said, I don't know what the right choice is. I certainly think trying to keep Cutler around for maybe another 2 to 3 years is a very conservative way to go about dealing with your quarterback situation. But I just don't think that will work in today's NFL. You can't really have stopgap quarterbacks for 2 years, as it were, in the NFL, in this modern NFL, especially with these weapons. I certainly wouldn't mind a 3-year extension. I think that would be fair, allowing a quarterback to be drafted, not necessarily this draft, maybe the next one, and then have 2 years to develop within the system and understand where they're at. But the biggest thing that has to happen is the defense. If they go back and re-sign their veteran linebacking core, I'd be fine with that. Injuries certainly did not help this year, and I'm not going to blame it on injuries. I'm also going to blame a lot of the players on that, because you're dealing with a very rudimentary NFL defense, and it's rudimentary because it's very basic, and it's shown to have tremendous success. They ran a very, very similar, if not the exact same defense for nearly a decade. You would think that you could have a couple of players maintain some of that knowledge. You really do, and at least step up to be leaders. Fortunately, that has not been the case, and that's a real shame. I truly do believe that. That's a real shame that you cannot have Lance Briggs teach or coach a little bit better than what he was able to impart. Certainly having Charles Tillman playing a cornerstone corner, not stepping up and playing a little bit of the safety game and showing him what has to happen, and just adding their experience and teaching their experience to the Bears defense. It's so very, very frustrating. Unfortunately, as you can tell, yes, I'm not joined by my team tonight. Brandon, we expect to be on either next week or in the future, as he did get a new mic, so we're very happy about that. But Mike was able to send in a text message to me, basically summing up his points, and he just says 3 things. 1, the secondary is horrible. I touched on that, and he nails it on the head there. Play to the whistle, what I mentioned before, as far as not going after the fumble. And frankly, I'm very glad that the coaching staff and that Mark Trestman was able to say that we teach and we coach playing to the whistle. So I don't know what that was. I genuinely don't. If that's them quitting, I'll be glad to be the first person to say that. I'm sure I'm not. But the defense quit there. They quit. They flat out quit. You can't say it any other way than that. And third, the praise Emery gets for building an offense is equal to how horrible he neglected the defense and special teams side of the ball. And, certainly losing Dave Tobe, who we mentioned before, one of the best special team coaches in the league, to Kansas City, only to take the exact same job there, was very disappointing. And that's just a tremendous loss of an asset, and not being able to identify and maintain that level of continuity, that level of talent, and identifying valuable assets and resources when when push comes to shove, and I genuinely believe that's a huge letdown. I don't know why Devin Hester decided to drop the ball every time he decided to try to return a kickoff the last couple of games this past season. I don't understand that. And I won't. I will never be able to understand that. I certainly think he's lost it. He's worth a fraction of whatever he was owed and paid this past year, certainly in the past couple of years. League minimum is completely fine with me, and if he's unable to come to terms with the fact that his value to the Bears organization is tremendously limited, that's on him. And if he thinks he can go make more money elsewhere, by all means, go. And don't let the door hit you on the way out, because to this organization, you are nothing more than dead weight. Let's not forget, folks, that Brian Urlacher was offered a 1-year contract with the Bears. He declined, thinking he could get money elsewhere, and decided to retire. So, for all those people that think that the Bears are the bad guys there, au contraire. Brian Urlacher showed his true colors to what his value and his outlook and perspective of the organization is. So don't be fooled, people, on that one. And really don't. Please, let's hold Devin Hester to that same standard, because his value is, as I said before, incredibly limited. Otherwise, I think Mike hit it on the head. He highlighted much more succinctly than what I said, and well, there's no other way around that. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I'd like to thank everyone that has participated on the show, contributing-wise, especially Patrick from Nice of the Video Game Table podcast, who we'll hear shortly as he recaps the Raiders season for us. Anthony Alex from the Angry Mailman podcast, as well as from Page to Screen movie show, as he gave us his thoughts and recaps of the Crimson Tide's season down in Alabama. Really great stuff from him. Thank you very much. If you are interested in hearing the archives of those, please feel free to check our library and our past shows from this past football season, as we try to get him on fairly regularly to get his thoughts on the Crimson Tide and their season. We all know how that ended, though. So, the long list for me, which is a very, very good thing. So, coming up right after a break, we go over to Patrick for his thoughts on the conclusion of the Raiders season here on Chicago Sports Update. Hello, listeners. Once you're done catching up with everything Intrepid Audio Productions has to offer, check out some other great independent podcast shows like the Knights of the Video Game Table podcast. Jeremy, Patrick, and Frank do great work, and it's worth your time to check them out. They're part of the Nerdgasm Network, where you can find other cool shows, including the Super Budget Brothers, the Nerdgasm Network Video Game Podcast, and all other shows, which can be found at extraplay.info. Give them a listen, because good, honest work can be hard to find. Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on IEP Podcast. I'd like to welcome in Patrick from the Knights of Video Game Table podcast on our From Page to Screen hotline. So visit FromPageToScreen.com for all that they have to offer as far as podcasts are concerned. Welcome in, Patrick.
Thank you for having me. It's been a while. Go
It
Raiders!
Well,
For the most
did they really go? It was a rough season, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It'd be like that. But, I mean, it is what it is. I had higher hopes for the season, and but then again, at the same time, it is what it is.
Yeah, a few games here and there, and it could have been you guys could have finished what the Bears finished, and that was 500. But
I mean, look at some of them. Let's see. We'll go Colts. We should have won that game. A field goal screwed us up. Janikowski struggled all season with King as his new holder. But then also, I don't. You could say I'm crying or whatever, but I saw a hold. Darius Hayward-Bay held and when Andrew Luck scored that last touchdown.
Yeah.
We were playing good against the Chiefs the first game, and I don't know what happened there. Giants, we blew ourselves in the foot. Dallas, we blew ourselves in the foot. It's bad. I was hoping for a closer game yesterday than there was, but once again, it is what it is. I think I do think they kind of did Terrell Pryor a little dirty. I do. I see what the his agent was saying about how they were just setting him up to fail on that last game. Not having him in for so long, and then just throwing him in there as a start against the Broncos like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a little shady, but just got to move on and look forward to next season. Really, as far as Dennis Allen's concerned, I still kind of don't feel like that he's our our coach, but I'll give him. I'm willing to give him one more year. First year he had Al Davis's team. This year they did what they could with what they had, and I can say that the defense looks a lot better. The last couple of games, I don't know what the hell happened to them, but at the beginning of the season and for the most part, the defense looked really good. We still need some cornerbacks, though.
I think everyone does, though.
Yeah. But I'm willing to give him one more year to see what he can do with our draft picks. We got a first round pick. And we actually have all our picks this year instead of previous years where we gamble them all away. We also have about $60 to $70 million to play with.
That's good money.
Exactly. We don't have all these other contracts. If everything goes the way what I want and majority of Raider fans want, I would say probably over 90% of what Raider fans want, McFragile will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
I had hopes for McFadden, but he gets hurt too much. He needs to go. He needs to move on. Jacoby Ford, I can see him leaving too. What they need to do though is, I think I've been saying it all year. An offensive line.
Yeah.
Another good defensive tackle. I think our linebackers were pretty solid. Some cornerbacks, and then definitely we need a veteran receiver in there. We need a number one guy in there. Like we get Josh Gordon would be beautiful.
It's funny going into it. It sounds like it sounds like all the things that the Bears were looking for last year and coming into the 2013 season. Now they were able to address a lot of those problems with the draft, and certainly trading Brandon Marshall. Trading for him a couple years ago certainly helped. Drafting Alshon Jeffrey 2 years ago really helped, but it comes back to talent identification, and you really like to think that organizations are stepping their game up as far as talent identification and coming away, making every pick count. I mean, you had, not just to highlight the Bears here, but you had practically everyone contributing from their draft this year.
Yeah.
Every pick was contributing, and contributing. Excuse me. And you'd like for that to be the new standard, where everything is so valuable. Because heck, it's free talent. Is basically the best way to look at it. You get to go select the best player you think that can help you the most. So the draft is so very valuable, and then you can address some of those other issues in free agency, like getting a wide receiver, going out and getting a number one receiver, or going and getting a defensive tackle, like you said.
Yeah. So I mean, like we'll have to see what happens with the draft picks, because I already seen the schedule, and it's not a very fun looking schedule for 2014.
No, I saw what you tweeted. That's
I'll just name them off for the listeners here. So, of course, obviously, we'll be playing home and away. We'll be playing the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. But at home, we have...
Division aside.
Yeah, division aside. Home games, we have the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, and the Houston Texans. Away, we have the New York Jets, the St. Louis Rams, the New England Patriots, the 12th man, Seattle Seahawks, and the Cleveland Browns.
Well, there's a couple of at this point now, looking at it right now, there's a few teams out there that you're going to be able to beat. I'd like to think that the Raiders could win against the Bills, against the Browns.
Yeah, the Bills beat us 2 years in a row already, or at least twice in the last 3 years.
one of the New York teams, and you'd like to think that you can beat the Texans as well. So, but the Texans, granted, I've never seen a more mercurial team than that. Going from an AFC South winning, or a wild card winning team to I think it was either AFC South or wild card. Either way, from last year to a 2-win team this year. No one saw that coming.
Yeah. Well, I just look at it like this too. We have 6 teams that are in the playoffs as of right now, plus a team that just barely missed the playoffs, which were the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Of course, then again, 3 of those 6 teams are all in my division, so I'd be playing them anyways. I can't believe the Broncos, Chiefs, and the Chargers are all in the playoffs.
Well, look at it like this. The Chiefs may not be as good as everyone thinks. Certainly in the past 4 games, well, heck, you can even go back the last 8 games that they played. They kind of look like the bumslaying Chiefs, where they can beat up on some bad talent and get some early wins, but after that, when the rubber meets the road, they couldn't pull it out against against San Diego. They've lost to San Diego. They've lost to the Broncos twice. Mm-hmm. They've lost to higher caliber teams, and so they got it. Kansas City. You can't be dancing in the street with how they can be happy about the turnaround, but it doesn't look too good.
Yeah, well, one person I'll never count out is Philip Rivers. He can pull you out of, and out of some bad spots. And that's the other thing about him too, is that he's pretty good at making comebacks. So, I mean, that's your little what's the word I'm looking for? Your little wow factor, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, like I said, the only thing I can do now is sit back, watch the playoffs, and wait for the draft and free agency to start.
Yeah.
Like I said, Jennings is our to me is our running back. I've said that one before on here. I think we got to make sure we keep him and between him and Reese, I think that's going to be we're going to be set at running back, fullback, and we just need to get a good offensive line in there, and definitely Janikowski and King need to get together and work on these kicks, because that's killing me. And I mean, you just can't say he was one of the best kickers last year in all of pro football, and then this year he had such a bad year. And there's only one thing that's different. Leckler's gone.
Yeah.
So there's obviously and there's more. Like I said, more than one time I saw Janikowski looking at King like, he's the veteran, so I'm going to take Janikowski's side on this and saying that obviously King is doing something wrong. And but and also there's one of the plays when they were showing it they had like the perfect angle. King didn't get the ball out. Talk about your Ace Ventura laces out, but he didn't get the laces out. They were faced in, and Janikowski shanked the kick. So they need to get together for sure and work on their chemistry. And as far as quarterback goes, I don't even know what they're going to do yet. They're going to keep McGowan. They're going to McGowan, however you say his name, and or are they going to go try to get someone in the draft or try to pick someone off? I don't even know what they're going to do with that spot. I don't think it's going to be Terrell Pryor at this point.
No, I don't think so. I think as long as the Raiders if they develop an offense, I think they need to define what kind of team they want to be. Mm-hmm. If they want to be a team that stresses the defensive side of the ball more and has a game managing offense, okay, fine, you can try to succeed with that. But you can also look on the other side of things and say, do they want to build an offensive team and an offensively based team? And honestly, in this league right now, you almost have to keep up.
Yeah. Right now it's a quarterback league.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do. I mean, that's like I said, until free agency and draft, I don't know what we're going to do. And as far as our quarterback is concerned, our coach is concerned, I think Dennis Allen should at least get one more year. That's one of the Raiders' biggest problems is switching quarterbacks. Coaches so fast And I mean, truthfully, like I said, at the end of the day, until he proves it to me, I don't think he's the guy. Couple people I talked to, they don't think he's the guy. But at the same time, he had Al Davis's team, and then he had a team that they did what they could with the money they had after they got rid of a bunch of dead weight. So
right, it's tough. He hasn't been given the best of hands.
Yeah.
As far as his coaching tenure with the Raiders is concerned.
Yeah. So I say give him at least one more year, even if next year is still not a perfectly. I mean, even if next year's a losing record, which I hope it's not, but even if it was, as long as you can see the improvement in that with a bunch of rookie guys, hey, who knows? But like, you can't just the 2 years that he has here and the teams that he had and the players he's had and the money he's had to work with, it wouldn't be fair to say, okay, well, you haven't done nothing, so get the hell out of here.
Right.
So, but I have to ask you a question, man. I want to know if there was anything broken or thrown in your house when that ball was thrown by Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, listen to the show. This will be towards the end of it, so you'll have a good, I think, 15, 20-minute, diatribe on, my reaction throughout the game and everything. No, I didn't break anything. I'm more of the quiet anger, so I think you you might know what that's like, yeah. But it's the quiet anger is often the dangerous one. So
the wife walking in and just seeing them. Oh yeah, hey, look, I got to go out shopping. You got to come with me. I'm not being around Matt right now. No,
no, it wasn't that bad. She was pretty. She checked out emotionally from it pretty early on, and I kind of stayed in. I stayed in, hooked, line, and sinker through the entire game, and I unfortunately had to pay the piper on that one.
Yeah.
So,
well, you can't help it. It's your team. I mean, the Raiders were getting their butts handed to them by the Broncos. I still sat there and watched it because, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much for all of your help in your analysis and your thoughts this season with the Raiders. We'd love to have you back next year to do that.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to if you're doing the Pick'em League next year. Hey, yesterday I didn't set my team. I figured, what's the point at this point? But in 2 weeks, I'm telling you, with the 1 week, it locked me out at 9:45. It locked me out. It wouldn't let me change nothing. And then the week after that, when I set the team and hit save, it said everything saved successfully or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then I went back to check my points, and it had nothing saved. I was like, "Oh my God, you got to be kidding me!"
Yeah, it did happen. It did happen to me one time earlier, as far as not getting some picks saved and whatnot. Don't worry, I'll clean it up. I'll be a little bit more thorough in reading how some of these things goes, and I'll try to enhance some of the commissioner tools that are available to me. But yeah, we'll look forward to doing that next year. We had a lot of fun doing that.
Yes,
so.
I did for sure. All I got to say is everybody root for New England to be knocked out first game. The first game they play, the Saints and the Niners.
Well, that's gonna be a dirty match. I'll say that much.
I think I just don't want them to make it. Period. But definitely not the Saints or the Patriots. I got friends that are Saints and Patriots fans, and I don't even want to hear it.
Frank's not gonna like that. I know that much.
Yeah, well, he was one of them. Me and him were starting to get into it a little bit yesterday because he got mad because I posted about how Peyton Manning beat Drew Brees' record, and he was having his little crybaby fit. He was all, "Oh well, they played a bunch of nobodies today, or they played a bunch of nobodies and beat it." And I'm like, so all year they played a bunch of nobodies because they didn't just break the record on the Raider game. He threw 2 passes and broke the record on the Raiders yesterday. I was like, what are you talking about, man? I don't know what you're talking about. So,
oh man, that's good.
Well, I look forward to next year for sure.
Absolutely. We look forward to that. We'll stay in touch, and thank you again, Patrick. Really do appreciate it.
Go Raiders!
Don't you spend enough time waiting for patches, system updates, and even worse, title updates? On Lag Free, we won't waste your time, and we talk about the topics that you want to hear about in a decidedly different fashion. No scripts or forced sides here. Listen to Lag Free, recorded and released regularly on Intrepid Audio Productions.
The mighty Blackhawks. Take the attack, yeah, and we'll back you, Blackhawks. You're flying high now, so let's wrap it up. Let's go, you Hawks. Move on. Now on the Hawks. Here come the Hawks. Here comes the Hawks.
I'd like to thank all of those that did participate in the first annual Chicago Sports Update NFL Pick'em Challenge. And yes, the rules were this was just during the regular season. The winner would be determined by the person with the most points that is not a Chicago Sports Update host. Well, we have a winner. He has been contacted. I'd like to thank username ERT Layden 205. Sorry, just that's the individual who did win. Thank you for listening. Thank you for getting in the pick'em, and we will be sending you your $50 gift card to NFL.com to wear whatever you want for whatever team you do support. So thank you very much for your support, for listening, and well, we look forward to next NFL season as our majority of the NFL fans out there. So again, thank you very much for listening, everyone, during 2013, and we look forward to 2014.
Thanks for listening to Chicago Sports Update here on Intrepid Audio Productions. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching IAP Podcasts, all one word. We make it easy to listen to us at home or on the go because you can subscribe to us via iTunes or on your browser at Spreaker.com. Listen to us on the go with the Stitcher Radio app, available for all smartphones. Want to interact with the team directly? Leave any questions, comments, or feedback you may have at our Facebook page. You can also like our page to know about special events, shows topics, and listen directly on our page to new and past episodes. Feel free to email us anytime at iappodcasts@gmail.com. IAP Podcasts, pioneering the best in independent podcasting.